Hello, welcome to the Asset Management System demo. The very first screen you can see here is the login page. The logo you see here is customizable and can be changed. I'm going to use the administrator account for demonstration purposes. Okay, after logging in, the first thing you will see here is the notice board. This is where the administrator can post up memos. Okay, say for example, I want to address to all employees, and I need them to perform stock check next week. So I can add this memo, okay, into the notice board here. All users will be able to see this new post immediately. For non-administrator users, they will not be able to add memos or edit them. Only administrator has the rights to add memo, edit them, and also to delete them. To edit a particular memo, just look at the ID at the right lower corner here, 46. Type in the memo ID 46 and do a search, and you can change the content of the memo and click update, and this will be immediately reflected here. If you wish to delete it, choose the memo, okay, put in the ID 46 and then hit the delete button, and that will delete the memo. So the notice board is the first module in this list. It's fairly simple, and we'll talk about the next module, which is the view location. Okay, before we proceed to the view location, I would like to explain to you what are the master data. The master data comprises of the location, device, user, vendor, status, and assets, group, type. Okay, these are considered master data. So we're going to create our first master data, which is location. Click on the view location to review all existing location that has been created in this system. Okay, if you wish to create a new location, you can either click the add location button here or the new button here. Either way, it is the same. I'm going to click on this new button here. Okay, and I can choose to create a new location called ZZ Selangor, for example, and the sub-location can be Subang Jaya, for example, and I click save to save that new location. Okay, so I have successfully saved a new location called ZZ Selangor, and it has a sub-location called Subang Jaya. Okay, if you wish to create another location, you can click on this add location button or the new button here. It is the same. By clicking on the add location button, you bring it to the same add location screen, and I'm going to create another location, say Pahang, and the sub location Kuantan, for example. Maybe put a ZZ-Pahang in front. Click save. So now we have two locations, one Selangor and the other Pahang. Okay, in the location module, there is also another type of location or another type of rule, which is called the transfer location. Okay, currently there isn't any transfer rule that's in place, so let's create one. Okay, by creating a transfer rule, we are just specifying whether an asset can or cannot be transferred from a particular location to another location. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to set in a condition stating that asset can be transferred from Subang Jaya, can only be transferred from Subang Jaya, Selangor, to Kuantan. Okay, let it refresh and hit save. What I have just done is that I've created a condition that only allows asset to be transferred from Selangor to Pahang, only one way, and not the other way around. I can create another transfer rule to transfer assets from Kuantan back to Selangor. So this is the second rule I'm creating right now. So once completed under the transfer, you can see that I've created two rules. The first rule allows asset to be transferred from Selangor to Pahang, and the other rule allows asset to be transferred from Pahang back to Selangor. Okay, so the next module I'm going to talk about is the view device module. In the view device module, at this moment we have 3 devices. Each device is actually a mobile computer that has the RFID capability for asset tracking. So say I have a new device and I need to use it. To do that, I first need to create a device record. I have copied the device ID from the mobile computer, which I can show you later. Okay, so basically I'm pasting it in right now, and I'm going to show you where I get this device ID from. It's basically on the mobile device here. So let me demonstrate. Okay, first we must make sure that it is connected to the Wi-Fi over here. So it's connected, and we can start the asset management system over here. By installing the asset management application on the mobile device and running it, at the very first screen you'll see the login page, and at the bottom of the login page you'll see the device ID over here. So this is the device ID that you need to copy, and you need to paste it onto the central web system here. The serial number can be anything, so I'm just going to put it. The brand can be anything. All these are optional. So for the serial number, brand, and model, they are optional. And the last field, which is quite important, is the active field. This will indicate whether a device can or cannot be activated. So at this moment, I'll set it as activated. So I've just created a new device, 3006, which is this device over here, 3006, into the system, and I have activated it. So that leads us to the next module, which is the user module. In the user module, you will define who can use this device. Okay, so in this user module, I'm going to create a new user called inspector02, and the password is give it 123, and I'm going to give him a role called the inspector role. There are actually 4 major roles, or 4 commonly used roles in this system, known as administrator, inspector, reporter, and custodian. Administrator is basically the web administrator. Currently, I'm logged in as the web administrator. Okay, this allows me to set up the master data, okay, which is the location, device, user, vendor, status, and so on. Okay, and also as administrator, I'm able to create new users. Okay, and which I'm doing right now. So I'm creating an inspector number 2, which a role called inspector. Okay, notice that when I choose inspector, on the right hand side here, the device list is dropped down. So I'm going to give this device 3006, this one over here, this device over here. Okay, I'm going to assign it to inspector 002. On top of that, I'm going to assign, say, account department. I'm going to assign account department to the inspector 02. Maybe not. Maybe I'm going to let me assign him something different. I'm going to assign him the the Selangor location, and I'm also going to assign him the Pahang location. So what I'm doing right here is that I'm putting this inspector 002, okay, in charge of these two locations. Okay, I'm putting this inspector 02 in charge of all the assets within these two locations. On top of that, I am also putting this inspector in charge of the transfer from Selangor to Pahang. Okay, I can specify the other rule, which is the other Pahang back to Selangor, but I don't want to. At this moment, I am only authorizing Inspector 002 to perform transfer of assets from Selangor to Pahang, and not the other way around. I'm not going to give him the transfer authority from Pahang back to Selangor. So so that's it. So let's fill up. I think this is mandatory. I need to fill this in, and I click save. Okay, so I've saved a new inspector record here. If you wish to check back your record, you can always click on this edit button here. If you wish to delete a particular record, all you need to do is check the record which you need to delete, and click delete. It's quite simple. So let's try editing now. In the editing page, you'll see that this inspector is in charge of this device, responsible for these two locations, and also responsible to transfer assets from Selangor to Pahang. Let's go and look into the mobile device right now. Okay, I've just launched the mobile computer screen here, and I'm going to type in the inspector2 user ID on top here. Okay, I'm going to type in INS002. That will be the login ID, which is here, the username, and the password is 123. So I'm going to type in 123 over here and click OK. Okay, because the device 3006 has been assigned to this inspector 002, I am allowed to log in using this account. Okay, say for example, if I were to decide to deactivate this device 306, I choose to deactivate it. Let's see what happens on the mobile computer side. Okay, let me exit now and try to log back in again. As you can see, once a device is deactivated, the user INS001 Inspector 002 is unable to log in using its password, okay, because the device has been deactivated. So let's reactivate this device again. And we'll try to log back in. Because this device has been reactivated, the Inspector 002 is now able to log back in. Okay. So the next module that we'll be talking about is the vendor module. This is where you create a new vendor. Okay, basically a supplier of your assets. It could be from anywhere, say Ingram Micro, for example. Okay, can be anything. Mr. Buta, for example, sales rep, department IT. Just fill in this and click save. So we have a new vendor, Mr. Buta. Sorry, we have a new vendor called Ingram Micro, and its representative is Mr. Buta. The next module we'll talk about is status. An asset can have various status. each status describes the current condition of the asset. So we have the ability to create new status. For example, we can have an asset is broken, fixable, and we can consider it as medium criticality. We can have a new asset, sorry, a new status with broken, not fixable, and we can have a severity of high. Okay, so we can have a new status called transferred, and not applicable. You can see the asset has arrived in its location. So basically these are the conditions for a particular asset, and status is part of the master data. So the next module will be view group. An asset can be categorized into groups. See, for example, we can have a group called vehicle. Okay. The vehicle category or group can be further subdivided into types. So for example, a vehicle, we can have a two-wheeler, which is a motorcycle, and we can have another vehicle that has four wheels, which is cars or trucks, for example. So we just created two types, which is a motorcycle and trucks, cars, for the group called vehicle. So basically, a group can contain multiple types. So that concludes the tutorial for setting up master data. I will explain further on asset creation, asset inspection, standard reports, and so on my second video. Thanks.